Hey guys, Martin here bringing on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. And so earlier today we got the big data download on Global after the maintenance was over, and we saw a lot of interesting information. Some of the stuff had been shared on Twitter earlier in the morning on the JP side whilst Global was still in maintenance, so some of it I didn't get to see straight away. So I thought I would do this video now, just breaking down everything, especially focusing on the stuff that is going to be coming out in the next couple of days with the release of the new Dokkan Fest VEGETA and some of the other content that's going to be coming out around him, because obviously we have the Gogeta and Janemba EZAs live in the game now. Showcases are up for them, so do make sure you go check those out. Let me know your thoughts on those guys and how you are enjoying those EZAs. But we are going to talk about a bunch of the stuff in the data download. So as always, shout out to Proton for organizing everything into a easy to digest, tidy little thread here. And make sure you give them a follow if you want to stay up to date with all of this information as and when it is being released and then compiled nicely into a thread like this. So shout out to the boy. So obviously we get the promo movie as expected, like when you log into the game for the first time after the new update, when the celebration begins, you obviously get this promo movie that shows some little bits from the animation of the new character just to promote the new released Dokkan Fest. So yeah, Vegeta arrives. It's the promo movie. Pretty cool. I think the Vegeta is certainly a very interesting unit. I'm looking forward to summoning for him. Very interesting SSR art with the powering up pose there. And then of course we have Kui, who is his banner unit. And then the surprise stuff that got tweeted out, we have sub EZAs for Super Saiyan Goku, the STR one, and the AGL Nail. Finally, people have wanted to see this guy's EZA for the longest time, and yeah, it is going to be happening in the next couple of days with the release of Vegeta. We'll go over the details for both these guys very soon as we go through the rest of the thread. Extreme Super Battle Road Stage 62, Artificial Life Forms. So I mean, straight away, like if you're somebody who has Cell Max, this is definitely going to be a lot easier, right, with how crazy that guy is with the AoEs and everything. So Stage 62, Artificial Life Forms, Extreme Super Battle Road. That comes out on the 3rd at 8. So it's basically the same time that the... Actually, no, this is a little bit later than that, right? Because the banner comes out a couple of hours before this. So this is coming out a little bit after the banner. So the Artificial Life Forms, Super Battle Road. Yeah, the EZAs come out at the same time as the banner, which is going to be 6 AM UK time, which is kind of crazy. And then, yeah, this comes out at 9 AM, so a little bit later on. The memorable battles with Gogeta and Janemba, those are obviously out now. I've recorded the runs for those. Those will be up. Although they're probably up already, depending on which order I put these videos up in. Make sure you do those, get the skill orbs for Gogeta and Janemba. They were pretty tough. I mean, they're only single phases, but they can hit you incredibly hard. So, yeah, very interesting. Then, of course, we have a Dokkan Fest event for Vegeta for getting the medals, of course, for the Dokkan Awakening. Fairly straightforward. Then the EZAs for Janemba and Gogeta are in there, of course. Like, we've had those done already. Make sure you do them if you haven't. Get the extra 60 stones. And then, of course, Super EZA for Physical Full Power Frieza was announced on JP earlier this morning as well. So this Namek Saga first synced celebration, like first normal Dokkan Fest after the worldwide celebration as we go into the sync. And we are seeing the next Super EZA. Interesting that it is this guy. Obviously, after we just got Broly, Goku was one of the original ones. So they kind of are circling back around, I guess, to some of these older characters. Of course, he fits the theme of the celebration, but back to some of these OGs, because these guys were the very first wave of like Dokkan Fest exclusives. So Full Power Frieza getting an EZA, Super EZA, is definitely very cool. We'll go over his details here in a moment as well. So yeah, interesting that he's going to be the 3rd physical unit to get a Super EZA. We still don't have an int one, so there you go. But then, yeah, Battlefield 80. Now, remember, this event, there's a thing in the news for Global. We are going to get extra missions for Battlefield to help make up for the battlefields that were skipped in order to get synced and all of that stuff. So there will be a bunch of missions for you to be able to get extra Battlefield memories. So that's definitely going to be very good. Then we have a new Pettan coming, Pettan Battle 35. So just Series 17 and 18, more series of cards. And here are some of the cards. The little Janemba one's cool. Goku and Vegeta. Then we've got the Vegito and Gogeta like LR arts. Those are pretty good. The little Chibi Tech exchange boo. Look at him, he's so angry. That's funny. And then Janemba doesn't really look any different. Janemba looks no different at all. And then, yeah, some more ones here. Funny how some of these don't really look that different. But, yeah, some of these are pretty funny. And then we have the 10th anniversary coins. Those missions are available in the game at the moment for beating certain stages. Very, very easy stages. I haven't actually bothered to do videos for them because, like, it's things like beat the legendary Goku event with one of these units on your team. So you can just bring literally your best team, your most powerful category team that can fit one of those characters on it. You only need to run one of them. And then, yeah, you just smash the stage out in like 5 minutes and then there's the mission done. So make sure you collect all of these, though, ready for the anniversary. One of the things they can be traded in for, according to the news thing, is stones. So, of course, having extra stones when the anniversary is on is always nice. So make sure you do get those missions done. They are very easy. And then, yeah, apparently a treasure you can acquire in Pettan battle can be used in the barber shop. So I'm not sure what this actually is. I haven't seen anyone talk about this, actually. So let me know if we do actually know what this is already. The one thing I could speculate that would be really cool, which I know a lot of people would be very excited for, is if this is the ability to use this ticket. If you can get it by, like, playing Pettan a certain amount, and then this ticket gives you the ability to just, like, exchange for one of the stickers that you're missing. Because I know there's a bunch of people out there with, like, sets almost completed, but they're missing one sticker. So that would be really useful. But like I said, I haven't seen any information about this anywhere. So if you know, let me know down below in the comments. And then we have the Dokkan Fest Pity coin. So instead of being another silver coin with like a different number on it, we're getting another new coin. So this is going to be a green coin for the Dokkan Fest Pity. I mean, it makes sense for it to be a different one, I guess, rather than just being a silver one with another number on it, because those are specifically legendary summon, like, pity coins. So whilst it is, I know some people, I can guarantee there'll be people that are like, oh, not another coin. But I guess it makes sense, right? Because it is the pity, like, currency. So I guess that is fair enough. And of course, we're getting Dokkan Fest tickets because it's global, right? We always get purchasable tickets now for pretty much every banner. So that is good that that is still the case. So if you're someone who spends on the game and wants to summon for Vegeta, tickets are usually always worth picking up just because the value compared to buying stone packs, you do usually end up getting more summons overall if you've got the tickets, as opposed to just buying stones and then going in on the banner, right? So let me know down below your thoughts. Are you buying the tickets? Are you summoning for Vegeta? Let me know. But yeah, that's all the stuff in the data download thread. So let's talk about the actual details for the EZAs and the Super EZA. So this is the Super EZA physical full power Frieza. Shout out to the Dokkan Wiki for the translations. So key 3, attack 150%. Additional attack 300% and defense 150 when performing a super. Has 50% damage reduction, and starting from the 5th turn, from his entry turn, damage reduction minus 10% with each turn passed, no more than 30. Okay, so he loses damage reduction and goes down to 20. That's a little bit disappointing. Defense 150%, plus an additional damage reduction of 30% as the first attacker in the turn. Okay, so on the first turn, he has 80% damage reduction if he's the first attacker in the turn, which is kind of crazy. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 150% when performing a super as the third attacker in a turn. So bearing in mind how much attack he gets already when performing a super, 300%. If you put him in slot 3, I feel like he's going to hit like an absolute truck. And he's got an extra 150% defense as well in slot 3. So I wonder if this guy is kind of just there, sort of geared up to be a floating unit for like full power, or if Wicked Bloodline makes a comeback and stuff like that. That's interesting. Launches an additional super attack if HP is 50% or more when attacking. Performs a critical hit when attacking superclass enemies, and attacks effective against all types when attacking extreme class enemies if HP is 50% or less when attacking. That's interesting. And then an additional key plus 12, attack 150% when there is a pure Saiyan enemy. So if you're fighting a pure Saiyan, like if you're doing one of the new Blue Zone stages, or even like, you know, one of the events against Broly or anything like that, if you put this guy in slot 3, he's got what, 150 start of turn, then an additional 300, then an additional 150, then another additional 150. So he's going to have 750% attack in slot 3 against a Pure Saiyan. On the first turn, 50% damage reduction. I mean, he seems like he could be a really good option for like a heavy hitting third slot floating unit. I'm not crazy about units that start off with damage reduction and then lose it, though. I do think that is a little bit disappointing, especially because it goes down to a level that is just not really like super useful, right? Like going down to being at 20% damage reduction, like that's not going to be good enough to tank some of these big boss super attacks, right? Unless his raw defense is going to be really, really high, which, judging by what we're seeing from his passive on paper, it's probably not going to happen, right? He's not going to have insanely high post super defense. So seems like he will be a really, really strong hitter, especially in slot 3 and against Pure Saiyans. But this doesn't strike me as like, when we read STR Broly's details, it was like, oh, he might be the new best super EZA. But when I read this guy's details, like, I don't think that. Like, he could still be really good, but I don't immediately read this and think like, oh, he's better than Broly. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about physical full power Frieza down below in the comments. Next, we have the STR Rage Super Saiyan Goku. For some reason, I actually thought this guy had an EZA already. I don't know why. Maybe because it's been so long since we've used him. But he gets an EZA, the Angry Kamehameha, massively raises attack for 1 turn, does supreme damage to the enemy. Then his passive is Key 3, attack and defense 200%, survives KO attacks up to once per turn, then gets an additional attack and defense 200% and attacks effective against all types for the rest of the battle if HP is 59% or below when receiving an attack. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 100% and launches an additional super attack for the rest of battle and evades enemy attacks once only if HP is 20% or less when receiving an attack. Recovers 59% HP at the end of the turn when HP is 20% or less once only. So I saw some people, I've seen a very mixed bag. Like, I saw a couple of comments straight away from people saying that this guy looked crazy, and then a couple from people saying he looked terrible. And it's kind of interesting because he's going to be very RNG reliant on which one of those two things he ends up being, right? Because if you can take a really big hit early on and then he receives an attack when you're at 20% or less HP, he suddenly gets all these permanent buffs, including like effective against all types, an additional super, whole bunch of extra stats, guaranteed dodge on like the next turn. Like, all of that stuff seems really cool. But then if you're going through an event and you're not getting like this big hit and dropping below this HP threshold, which of course is not even start of turn or anything like that, he has to receive an attack when you're already at that low level of HP. So I can definitely foresee situations coming up where you just aren't able to get these other parts of his passive active, and then it does seem like he's probably not going to be that great, right? He's relying on those other parts of his passive being active in order for him to actually be good. So certainly interesting, but of course, you know, we will try him out in game once the EZA is out and showcase him and see how well he does, give you guys my thoughts. But yeah, it doesn't seem too crazy off the bat unless you are getting this. Like, if you could somehow get that really early on and then like heal back up and everything, like that could be really, really good. But yeah, I'm not too sure. And then we have AGL Nail. So this is one that people have been waiting for a long time. This guy's quite old at this point. Was very much wondering when he was going to get an EZA. So yeah, he greatly raises second defense and does supreme damage to the enemy. He gets second defense 150 and launches an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. He gets additional attack and defense 100%, 150% for 3 turns, starting from his entry turn. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 150% when there's another Namekian ally on the team. He has 30% to 77% damage reduction. The less HP, the more damage reduction he has when there is a Piccolo on the team. He gives all allies Key 2 and attack and defense 50%. Launches an additional super and gets a guaranteed crit when there is a Wicked Bloodline or Planet Namek Saga enemy. So they've added Planet Namek Saga to that. That's really good because obviously the new celebration is all about that. And it means super or extreme types as well, right? So that's really good. Means he doesn't just have to be fighting against Wicked Bloodline characters, which, you know, throughout the game at the moment, especially with ones that are relevant for the meta, like there aren't really any bosses that are Wicked Bloodline anymore. Planet Namek Saga, it depends what kind of content we get with this new celebration, but that's certainly very interesting. Another Namekian on the team, and then having a Piccolo on the team. Obviously, it's ideally going to be Piccolo, probably the LR one. And that gives him a lot of extra stats and the damage reduction, which I think is really good. He does get that extra stat buff for 3 turns. A lot of these newer events are a little bit on the shorter side, so I do feel like that does work out quite nicely for him, but obviously we'll have to see how that pans out, because it's going to come down to the teams that he's on and like which ones of those you're going to be running and actually running these relevant like Piccolo units. But he certainly seems like he could be solid. None of these guys strike me as like, you know, this is the new best EZA, but these guys you got to remember are sub EZAs. They're not Dokkan Fest exclusives. But they seem pretty decent, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. But yeah, that is everything from the data download. All the Gogeta and Janemba stuff is out in the game already, so make sure you get that done, get those missions done for the countdown to the 10th anniversary coins, and then all of this other stuff, these EZA, Super EZA, etc., will be coming out on Thursday morning for me, late Wednesday evening if you're in parts of the US, or more west of the world to me, later on in the day I guess if you're more east than me. But you know your time zones for when stuff normally comes out. This is all coming out an hour and a half earlier than usual. Banners are usually out at 7:30 AM UK time. The stuff is all coming out at like 6 AM. But let me know what you guys think of all the stuff in the data download. What do you think of the EZAs? Are you going to be summoning for Vegeta? I will do a summon or skip video to talk about him and his banner and the pity and all that stuff in more detail for tomorrow. But let me know your thoughts down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.